1029 The Buzz, Nashville's rock station. Hi, Squeegee in the studio with me, Wyatt Cenac. You've seen him on The Daily Show, Netflix. What else you been on, man?
What else have I been on? That's actually a good question.
You haven't done any porn yet, have you?
Not to my knowledge. You never know. Somebody, I have windows and not the best blind setup, so somebody might have gotten a high-powered lens and seen filmed a very boring scene.
Right?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite episodes of The Daily Show was you went to my hometown, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're from Gulfport.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
wow. Okay.
You're walking down Highway 49.
Yeah.
And it was down in Turkey Creek, right?
Turkey Creek, yeah.
Yeah, and they built all these houses or apartments or whatever on the old slave graves.
Right, yeah. So it was one of the first freedmen's towns where it was like a town that was built by freed slaves, and then the city started sort of encroaching on it, and as they would try to get historical landmark status, the city would just like build plants and other things. And yeah, there was a whole cemetery where they built apartments on top of the cemetery, and we brought some guy out who was telling us a story. We brought this guy Derek Brooks out who was talking about how he came out here with an older woman who was like, "Oh yeah, no, this is where the cemetery was," and my niece or somebody was buried under that Sentra, and yeah,
it was just, I was like, oh wow, makes me proud, man. Makes me proud, dude. Because I mean, just the whole stereotype from being from Mississippi anyway is just, it's like, that's why I got the hell out.
I was gonna say, yeah, it doesn't sound like you go back that often.
No, I really don't, man. I really don't. Just to go gambling every once in a while,
Do they have gambling?
Yeah, man. They put casinos down there like right after I moved away because we were all like, there's nothing.
Right, yeah.
Like there was nothing there like in '69. Before Katrina, there was Camille. And I mean, like, Category 5 storm, and I mean, like, wiped out the entire Gulf Coast. And so, like, after that, for like 20 years or so, like, they're so slow down there. Like, they just wait and wait and wait. So 20 years later, they're finally like going, okay, we're going to have dockside gambling, and then we see how well that worked for them with Katrina,
Right, yeah.
There were like, after Katrina, there were casinos sitting in the middle of the interstate and up on people's yards. I was just like, wow, nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So that's why you've moved somewhere where you're as inland as you can be.
Pretty much.
You're hurricane proof.
Yes, I am. Now, I also read recently where you've done some stuff for Marvel Comics.
I did. I got to write a couple things for Marvel. I wrote a 12-page story a while back about Power Man Luke Cage, and then they let me and a friend of mine, a writer named Elliot Kalin, he and we worked together at The Daily Show, and we would always wind up having these sort of weird conversations about comic books, and I'd ask a question, and so then we went to Marvel and we were like, what if we could draw out some of these conversations that we had of just sort of weird, stupid questions I was asking. And so they were like, sure, and we called them why ifs, as opposed to what if, but also because why is sort of short for Wyatt. And so they were just sort of dumb questions about like things. It started because we were having a conversation about mutant powers and how the idea that a mutant power is a bodily function, and that every bodily function that you have, there's usually some sort of reactionary thing. You eat food, you fart, or you
you burp or you fart,
Yeah, and so it was the idea that what if, there's a reaction, is going to take power, it's going to take energy and other things to process shooting eye beams or, mind control. So what would the sort of converse of that be? We just assumed it would be farting. So that being a mutant, while you have all these powers, you also fart a lot. You
have like super farts, like okay, so there are the gaseous clouds that come in and gags and knocks everybody out with just the stench, or it's just like you can use one to cover your disappearance. Like there's just a big cloud and it's like you're gone.
See, I think it's more just, okay, you created a weather phenomenon, and now you're a little bloated and gassy as a result of that. So that's probably why you're not doing it every day. Because think about it, if you're Storm and you can control the weather,
Yeah.
why would there be sort of terrible weather days when you can be like, oh no, we don't need a blizzard. We'll just get a light blanket of snow. Or, you know what, the snow was nice on Monday. Why don't we get rid of it and just have sunshine for the rest of the day?
All right.
But if it's because it gives you a stomach ache, you might not do it as much. You might be like, hold on, people. Like, I'm not going to help with this. I know they said 3 days of rain, and I could easily stop it, but it's not as easy as you think. I get a stomach ache. I have a migraine. You all don't see that side of what my life of being a mutant is like.
All right, so are you going to be on the Daily Show anymore? Are you still contributing?
No, I left.
Done with that little dude, man? Jon Stewart, you're not paying enough. See you, bye.
Pretty much, yeah. It's time to go.
Right on. I loved you on that show, man. I thought you did some great contributions to the whole thing. And I mean, all your bits were great, and
Thank you.
I noticed that, when Jon Stewart's, I don't know if I'm modeling myself after him or anything like that, but again, when Jon Stewart interviews people, there's no prep.
No, there's a lot of prep.
Is there? Okay, well, he pulls it off very well. It's like, well, yeah, I read your book. No, I didn't read your book.
No, if he doesn't read the book, then one of us would. Like, it's one of those things where the writers, we'd read the book, and he'd read a lot of the books, and then we would also read a book and write down questions that we saw and interesting things that we saw from the book. So he'd have whatever questions he might already have, and then there'd be like 20 questions from us of just, oh, here's some other stuff that we saw in the book that we thought could be moments for conversation.
So it's still like you're back in school. It's like, okay, so your homework tonight and your reading assignment tonight is to do this.
Yeah, but you did it during the day. So it was a lot of speed reading through these books,
right,
where you're just kind of checking out each chapter and just skimming and then sitting through lunch and reading a chunk of it and realizing, oh, okay, there's something here, and coming up with some questions. And so, yeah, sadly, or actually probably better, you weren't given the book on a Friday and told, okay, on Monday you're going to have to know everything about this book. But I have had to read some terrible books. So.
Yeah, you should see stuff they used to send to me. Like, I was a PSA director back in the day, and like, how to lose weight with eating toilet paper and stuff. And you're like, the hell, really? Yeah, can we come on your show and talk about this? No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just that, the sort of submissions of books, I'm sure, yeah, you probably got a lot of those. And we would definitely, once a month, there was something that we would call Free Book Day. And it was all the books that had been submitted to the show so that their authors could be on as guests. And some, the authors had been on as guests. Some, it was just, the books came in, but they weren't right for the show. And some were just people who, had a publicist who sent in a book that there was no way it was getting on. And once a month, they'd all get laid out in the, on the production offices, and they'd make an announcement, and you'd go out and you just get all these books. And I have just different books, like cookbooks and people's memoirs.
Yeah.
Just a variety of things that are like, oh yeah, sure, I'd read that.
Yeah.
And it was a great way. It was a great way to have to never go into a Barnes and Noble.
Right. And so they're sitting in a storage bin in your storage shed somewhere.
Now they're on my bookshelf to make it look like I've read a lot of books.
Right. So the cookbooks, yeah, I'd find those handy. But again, and even, some of the Ken Burns stuff, I'd be like, yeah, man, I want to read this, but again.
You take the jacket off most books. People don't read the spine a lot of times. So you look like a well-read,
right,
man of distinction.
Man of distinction. I like that a lot. So you're here today through the 7th. And what are you going to do with your time while you're off here in Nashville? You've been to Nashville before?
Not really. I did Bonnaroo a few years back.
Hell yeah.
So I flew into Nashville, but we didn't stay. We basically flew in, went to a Walmart because it was the year that it was really rainy at Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
So we went to a Walmart to get socks and galoshes and stuff like that. And then, so haven't really been to Nashville. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the, like, Printer's Alley and all that type of stuff. Just to see it. I don't necessarily want to spend a bunch of time.
See it now, man, because they don't give a damn here, and they are tearing everything down.
Really?
They are building so much stuff here, man. It's like, hey, there's this great place, 12th and Porter, great music venue. Seen a lot of cool acts there. It's opened, it's closed, it's opened, it's closed a couple of times, and now it's closing for good. Another high-rise going in. And they keep taking away all of our parking. Like now, all of a sudden, there's like, I mean, like I had to pay, I'm sure it's more expensive in New York to park and a few other places. But again, you know, if I have to pay $15 to park to go to the convention center, I'm like,
oh, wow.
Really? Seriously? $15 on special event nights? Like if there's a concert at Bridgestone or there's a Titans game going on, you're going to pay up to $20, $30 to park in certain areas. Yeah, it is, man. I will recommend the Ryman Auditorium. Take a tour. Very cool.
Yeah.
You know, then there's, the Parthenon. If you want to go see the Parthenon.
All right.
It's like the Parthenon in Greece.
Okay.
I still haven't been to the Parthenon yet. I've been here for like 25 years, man. So, you know, just a suggestion. Couple of cool places to like, I don't know, ML Rose. It's right down the road from Zany's, actually, down on 8th Avenue. Cool little pub to go hang out. You know, good
cool.
food and stuff like that.
I know people told me, they were like, oh, if you go to Nashville, you got to go get the hot chicken. And somebody said Prince's.
Yeah.
But so I might check that out. But at the same time, I don't eat a lot of spicy food, so I don't want my trip to Nashville to be sort of remembered by an hour on the toilet screaming.
Right, and then your superpowers come out with your farts. And then it all goes back around there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Wyatt Cenac. See him this weekend as Zany's. Man, it's been a pleasure interviewing you, man. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice talking to you.
Right on, man.